to the weekend preview with me and my ex-friend Jules, where in part 2 we turn our attentions to the two teams from Manchester.
Thanks, Rob. Both Pep Guardiola and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's sides have their opening games of the new season this weekend, with big ambitions on both the red and blue sides of the city.
And all is bright for those who feel red. That is Manchester City at their best.
James cutting it onto his right foot and finishing with a flop. Aguero takes it on. What a hit!
McTominay! Magnificent! De Bruyne! Oh, that is outstanding!
The Greenwood and Manchester United have numbers over.
That is sensational!
Riyad Mahrez, still Mahrez goes. Threads it in at the near post.
Here it is again, that day when Manchester opens its heart to the world.
Manchester United are in action first. They face Crystal Palace on Saturday at Old Trafford.
Yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's held his first pre-match press conference of the new season today, so let's hear what he's had to say.
So we're getting closer and closer to challenging and winning trophies. So we need to take another step forward. I know there's loads of other loads of other clubs really going for to improve, and everyone wants to improve every season. So we need to be better than last year. We're a year older, everyone is, but we were the youngest team in the Premier League, youngest squad in the Premier League last season, and the year experience that these boys have had now will stand us in good stead. I'm very, very sure, and we'll have to start the season better than we did last season. That's that's the aim now, that we get a good start, and then from then on kick on. Of course, it's a warning, but it's also learning that game. I know that if we played that game last season 100 times, we'd lose that one, and that's the one we lost, because that was a freak result. But don't underestimate that performance, because they've got some individual players there with loads of quality, especially going forward. We cannot switch off. We have to be aware of the individual qualities, and the way Roy always organises his teams, it's hard to play against, so we know we have to play well.
Well, we get to see Manchester United for the first time this season up against Crystal Palace this weekend. You'd say that post-lockdown they were probably one of the best teams in the Premier League. Do you expect them to kick on in the same way?
Yeah, I think they have to. I think their unbeaten run, finishing the season was exceptional. I think to finish third was an achievement for Manchester United. I think when you look at the front four now, with Fernandes, Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, they look like they love playing with each other. And I think when you look at other teams like the Liverpool's, Man City's, they have a front four like that. They all chip in with the goals, chip in with the assists. So I think Manchester United, with Pogba as well, sort of being more settled, they've got a great foundation to go on and really trouble a lot of teams. So I expect them to kick on and win this game against Palace. I think Solskjaer now is starting to form a team that he really wants, with Van der Beek coming in as well, in terms of players that want to play for Man United, care about the badge, and are exciting to watch.
You've seen the graphic there of their form to get into the Champions League, which I agree with Andy. He's done so well, Solskjaer. Does Van der Beek make them into a semi-finalist, from a semi-final team, 3 semi-finals, to winners? Is he the missing piece of the jigsaw? Did they need another midfielder, or do they need to strengthen in other areas?
I think they need to still strengthen in most areas.
Most areas?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think this is a good team, but let's not forget the issues about the goalkeeper, the issues about the centre-back, the full-back situation. Man United have been in the market for a lot of players, but so far only Van der Beek has arrived, and I think that might not quite be enough to make up the gap. I think there's been improvement collectively, tactically. They look so much more comfortable since Bruno Fernandes has come in, and Solskjaer has kind of settled on that 4-3-3 formation, which brings the best out of Pogba, gives a bit more protection to the back, and also frees up some of the players up front who don't have to play as wingers but can play as 3 strikers. But I still think there's a bit of quality missing throughout. And United fans, as fans, you always want more. You always want more players coming in. But I think, they have seen a lot of this team. and they would like to have at least one or two big additions coming in.
I agree. I think a centre-half, because in one-on-one situation, Lindelof and Maguire, I think 1v1 against pace, I think they can struggle. So I thought they might have gone for a centre-half. They have not to bring one in yet. And on the goalkeeper, I think David De Gea will be Man United's #1 by Christmas.
I think he should be. I mean, David De Gea has been one of the greatest goalkeepers for a long time. And yeah, he's not been at his best. But I still believe he can get back to that level. Maybe this pressure and this criticism, if he's the right type of professional, will kick him on. I believe you should bring in players to sort of prod and compete.
So Henderson now is there. Yeah. He's going to be pushing David De Gea, isn't he?
But I think De Gea is still better. And hopefully, for Man United's sake, that will bring the best out of De Gea. But I think that move will hopefully sort of push De Gea back to where he was before.
With everything you've just said there, Rafa, about what players Manchester United you think they still need in this window, whether or not they get them, we'll have to wait and see. Does it mean that if they were to spend big money on Jadon this window, whether or not they get them, we'll have to wait and see. Does it mean that if they were to spend big money on Jadon...
Fred, McTominay, they got Pogba, Fernandes. Van der Beek confuses the situation for me. But listen, he's a fantastic player. £40 million. He was going to go to Real. I'm led to believe for 80. Rashford, I think they need a 9. I think they need a clinical number 9. Martial done great. Don't get me wrong. But have they got that number 9, the focal point who can bring people into play?
They haven't got a number 9, but neither do Liverpool. And I think there's a way of playing with enough quality up front without the number 9. And what Sancho will bring is that real X factor on the wings. None of these players that you mentioned, for all the quality, unnecessarily, when they touch the ball in a deeper position, people don't get excited because they know they're not going to take on now. They're not going to take on 3 or 4 defenders, and then do something. They will look for the pass, they'll look for the run themselves to get on the end of things. Sancho makes things happen. And people, especially at United, where there's such a tradition of wingers being big stars, I think a player like that is going to do wonders.
Jules alluded to, you said United need all these players. Sancho coming in, does he make them challenge for the title, or would bring in a centre-half in, like a Upamecano or Koulibaly? Would somebody like that give them better opportunity of winning the title rather than Sancho?
I don't think one player coming in any of these positions is going to be enough to get United into the title-winning position. But you have to start somewhere. You can buy Sancho now, and then next year spend a lot of money on another centre-forward, if you will, a number 9, or a centre-back. I still think the full-back positions needs addressing. They were in for Reguilon for that reason.
Do you think Wan-Bissaka needs addressing?
I think he's good.
Final third going forward. Full-back.
I think he's good, but is he top class? Not yet. And what about the other side of the pitch? I mean, the left side.
Brandon Williams, Luke Shaw.
Okay. Not world beaters.
See, I tend to disagree actually with that point that bringing in a centre half can't turn you into a champ.
Not this United team.
I think if you look at the signing of Van Dijk and what that meant to Liverpool, as soon as they signed him, they were a championship winning team. If they bring in a player like Koulibaly and shore up the defence, it could be the difference.
They're a good defence as well towards the end of the season. Very good.
So I think sometimes they are. A lot of these teams are focused a lot on the exciting players, the Bales, the Sanchos, but actually you forget that foundation, in defence, what it did for Liverpool,
Raf's shaking his head.
They did spend £80 million on a centre-back last year.
Yeah, Maguire.
It improved the defence, but has it taken them to another level?
But is Harry Maguire as good as Virgil van Dijk?
No one is as good as Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
But is Koulibaly another Virgil van Dijk?
Sure. Virgil van Dijk has made more errors leading to goals in the Premier League since 2018 than any other outfield player, Raf.
Yeah, but...
Really?
Yeah, good start that, isn't it?
But it's slightly misleading.
Even though he's the best defender in the world.
Exactly. And it doesn't really ultimately matter because, Liverpool find ways of winning and not losing games. So.